What's up, you guys? So someone had a question about two particular scriptures in the Bible, and they felt that it was a contradiction. One is from Proverbs, and the other one is from Psalms. Now, Proverbs is from Solomon, Psalms is from David and Asaph, and a couple other writers, but this particular verse is from David. So David is writing something which Solomon seems to contradict. Or I should say, Solomon wrote something that contradicts what David wrote, because Solomon came after David, obviously. Solomon wrote that when people do us wrong and God punishes that person, we should not rejoice over the punishment that God gives to them. But then in Psalms, we're gonna read I have a certain app that helps me to like go off, so you're gonna see. But David says that he rejoices when his enemies fall. Not in that wording, but he's rejoicing because God has avenged him. But then Solomon says that we should not rejoice when God avenges us. So is that a contradiction? Well, we're going to see. So let's see. In Proverbs 24, verse 17, Solomon says, "Do not gloat when your enemy falls." Another translation says, "Do not rejoice when your enemy falls." Don't be happy when they stumble, or when they stumble, do not let your heart rejoice. Or Yahowah will be displeased with you and will turn his anger away from them. Right, so are we not supposed to be happy that we've been avenged? And in Psalms 58, verse 10, it says that the righteous will be glad. Another translation says, the godly will rejoice when they see injustice avenged. They will wash their feet in the blood of the wicked. Another translation says, the righteous will rejoice when he sees the vengeance which God has administered, right? So now there are other passages where David speaks more Okay, I paused it for a moment because I was trying to find the other scriptures where David speaks of, if my mind is not playing tricks on me, I know there are other passages where David, rejoices over his enemies, that God has avenged him, God has given him victory over his enemies, and he clearly rejoices. I'm sure I remember those passages. I just can't find them right now. But I do remember that they exist. But are these contradictions? No. In Proverbs, Solomon is basically saying that the best translation to use is gloat. We saw one translator use the word gloat. To gloat is different from rejoicing. Gloat is more of a negative tone than rejoicing. The spirit behind the act of rejoicing is different from when one gloats and from when one rejoices. So see if you can see the difference in how I react. Let's say I have an enemy that's persecuting me, and then God avenges me and gives him a blow, right? And through some means, I'm able to witness it. I can react, I can rejoice in one of two ways. I can either say, "Oh, thank God, I've been set free. Thank God, I've been set free. I'm rejoicing because now I don't have to be persecuted anymore by my enemy. Thank God, I've been set free." Or I can rejoice in this manner. Yes. I can even say, "Good for him." Or I could even mock him and laugh at him and say, "Ha ha ha, you've fallen. God has avenged me." You see, the spirit between one and the other is different, right? So I could basically just be like, "Oh, thank God, I've been set free." I'm not mocking my enemy. I'm not laughing at him. I'm not pointing my finger at him, and I'm not necessarily rejoicing over their downfall. I'm just rejoicing that I have been set free. Whether God sets me free by striking them a blow or by not striking them a blow at all, but he just sets me free, I'm rejoicing over that. That's different, right? Okay, so you're in a locked cell and that's your torment, but you've been set free. But the jailer who was The jailer who was tormenting you, he's still there. God hasn't struck him a blow. He's still there, but you've been set free. So now you're rejoicing. You're not rejoicing because God has struck him a blow. No, nothing has happened to him. You're just rejoicing because you've been set free. You could care less about what's happened to your enemy. You've been set free. You can rejoice in that manner, or you can gloat, which is a form of rejoicing, but it's a negative tone. The spirit behind that type of rejoicing is different. Now it's more of like you're happy that your enemy has fallen, but do not be happy that your enemy has fallen. Just be happy that you have been set free from your trials and tribulations, whether it is because your enemy has fallen or not. Right? So it's not a contradiction. So sometimes you just have to look at the original text or use different translations and just think a little deeper in, behind the scripture. They're not contradictions. It's just your perception of the scriptures, So, all right, peace. If you have any other questions, I welcome questions because it gives me more topics to talk about, All right, peace.